We lost half our congregation, but I think that's amazing that half of the congregation is children. That makes my heart happy. Let us now listen to the word. Our reading for today comes from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 16, verses 1 through 13. Jesus also said to the disciples, "A certain rich man heard that his household manager was wasting his estate. He called the manager in and said to him, 'What is this I hear about you? Give me a report of your administration, because you can no longer serve as my manager.' The household manager said to himself, 'What will I do now that my master is firing me as his manager? I'm not strong enough to dig and too proud to beg. I know what I'll do so that when I am removed from my management position, people will welcome me into their houses.' One by one, the manager sent for each person who owed his master money. He said to the first, 'How much do you owe my master?' He said, 900 gallons of olive oil. The manager said to him, 'Take your contract, sit down quickly, and write 450 gallons. Then the manager said to another, 'How much do you owe?' He said, 1,000 bushels of wheat. He said, 'Take your contract and write 800. The master commended the dishonest manager because he acted cleverly. People who belong to this world are more clever in dealing with their peers than are people who belong to the light. I tell you, use worldly wealth to make friends for yourselves so that when it's gone, you will be welcomed into the eternal homes. Whoever is faithful with little is also faithful with much, and the one who is dishonest with little is also dishonest with much. If you haven't been faithful with worldly wealth, who will trust you with true riches? If you haven't been faithful with someone else's property, who will give you your own? No household servant can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be loyal to the one and have contempt for the other. You cannot serve God and wealth." Brothers and sisters, these words are trustworthy and true, and we can believe them. Years ago, I worked with an accounting manager who, on a weekly basis, would bring in like 10 bags of Twizzlers. And she would set them out, and accounting work is very stressful. So we would, share in the Twizzlers. Whenever you're having a stressful, frustrating time, you would go and you'd grab a handful and you'd go back to your desk and chomp on them as you're trying to, calculate whatever. And they were always there. And one day I walked into her cubicle and she had this drawer just full of bags of Twizzlers. And I'm like, you can't keep buying that for everybody. Isn't that costing a lot of money? Why do you keep doing this? Maybe people should chip in and this shouldn't all be on you. And she looked at me and she's like, honestly, everything in that drawer was like $2. What? There's like 30 bags of Twizzlers in there. How is that $2? So then she told me that she was a couponer. I'm sure you've heard the term extreme couponer. And she was telling me how this system works. So not only is it like normal couponing, right, where you go and you look at the sale ads to see what's maybe buy one, get one, or, 4 for $2 or whatever, and then you have the coupon and the manufacturer coupon and the store coupon and the sale, and you're like stacking stuff. Like, that's normal couponing, right? That's smart saving shopping. But this is extreme couponing that is based on a completely different system that allows you And at least this is how it used to be. I don't know if this is how it still is. And I don't know all of the details, which makes me very happy because then I can't sit here and give you a how-to guide on how to extreme coupon. But it had something to do with a code on the coupon being connected to the code of that distributor that would work on a product that the coupon wasn't even for. As long as a couple of the digits matched, a couple of the digits in the code of that product, you could use that coupon for it, as long as the person cashing you out wasn't paying attention to the coupon and the products. That is why I thought about bringing a coupon. So pretend that this is a coupon. That's why on the bottom of the coupon, it talks about that you can only use that coupon on the product it was intended to be used, otherwise it's considered fraud. That's why that's there. So she was telling me how this whole system works, and she was showing me like her big coupon binder, and like she had this cheat sheet, like pages long cheat sheet of what codes actually would work on what products. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's really intriguing. Like if that can save you a lot of money, wow, how come more people don't know about it? And then she had the disclaimer, just be careful because it is fraud. You could go to jail. You could pay a big fine. Maybe I won't do that. When I was reading today's gospel lesson, I thought about that old accounting manager and her coupon habits. Because that's kind of a little bit what's going on here. So you have this household or this property manager that is somehow mismanaging funds. And the text doesn't tell us exactly what's being mismanaged. The text doesn't tell us if the manager is stealing money, if the manager is making shady deals, if the manager just made a bad deal that like didn't work out and he lost a ton of money accidentally. The text doesn't tell us if he's frivolously spending on things that like weren't approved to be spent on. We don't know how he's mismanaging. We just know that he is mismanaging and he's fired. So then the story goes on to say that this manager says, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do now? I had this amazing position with this salary that allowed me to survive and feed my family and live and have all of these things, clothes, food, shelter, maybe some extras that he didn't know how he was going to provide for anymore without an income. And the text goes on to say that I'm not strong enough to dig, so he can't be a farm worker, he can't be a laborer because he's not strong enough, and I'm too proud to beg. It's shameful. I can't go from this elevated position to now standing on the street corner asking all of these people that I could like lord my status over earlier for money. I can't visibly fall that far in society. I can't do it. So what am I gonna do? So he goes to a couple of the people that owe his former boss a lot of money. So he goes to the first person who owes a vast amount of olive oil. How much do you owe him? Well, I owe him 900 gallons, or whatever the text said. Okay, on your accounting book, change that amount. It's no longer 900, it's now 450, thank you. And then he goes to the next person. And he says, how much do you owe my employer? And the text that I have printed here is a little bit different than in the Bible that you all have. So in my text, it says 100 containers of wheat. And so the manager says, sit down, change your accounting book and make it 80. So it doesn't matter the numbers. It's reduced it. So the text tells us that he has these conversations with these people. But again, it doesn't tell us why. It doesn't tell us what his intention was. There's a big gap missing in this story about what was his purpose of reducing this debt for these other people. Is it because he's angry? And so he doesn't want his boss to get everything that he's owed? So he tells these people, okay, you no longer owe this much, so that he can stick it to his boss? Is it because he is going to make a deal on the side? Okay, you pay him this reduced amount, but give me the rest. Is it that kind of deal? Or is it, hey, because these people apparently don't know that he was fired, is it, hey, my boss is being really generous, why don't you go ahead and reduce your debt? So now the manager looks like he's this really upstanding guy, and the boss, the owner of this property, looks like he's this really upstanding guy. Oh my goodness, he's reducing our debt. So he's improving his manager's standing in society because he's now this really generous person. And he's ingratiating himself into the lives of these people that owe these debts, so that he has friends he can rely on. He has friends whose houses he can go into who will feed him, who maybe will shelter him. When he needs a favor, well, do you remember when I did you that favor? I need you to pay that back. So we don't know what of those scenarios was true. And it's a parable, so probably none of them. It doesn't matter in the story, but it could be any of them. We just know that this debt has been reduced. But the owner of the property finds out about what happened. And instead of yelling at him or having him arrested for theft, he looks at him and he's like, I see what you did. That was really clever. Well done. You're not getting your job back, but mad props to you. Well done. Because in the end, for the landowner, yeah, okay, he's not going to get everything he's owed, but he is going to look good in the eyes of society. So he wins in the scenario either way, and he's still going to get paid probably what he was owed to begin with, because he probably jacked up the rates to start with, right? So he's like, yeah, okay, a little bit of loss. It's risk. It's fine. I can take it. But there's an interesting sentence in here. And I'm going to read it from this version because I don't think it quite translates the same in the version that we read. It says, "For the children of this age are more shrewd in dealing with their own generation than are the children of light." Children of light. What does that mean? I had to look it up. The translation of the word light in this context has a definition of the manifestation of God's self-existent life, divine illumination to reveal and impart life through Christ. Sorry, it's really small writing. Divine illumination to reveal and impart life through Christ. So children of light, it's saying that they are living in this illumination of God's love through Christ. They are following the path of Jesus Christ. So you have these other people that are following this other path, and then you have these people, children of light, that are following the path of Christ, living in the light of God, living in the love of God, following the path of righteousness. And then Jesus goes on to say, "And I tell you, make friends for yourselves by means of dishonest wealth, so that when it is gone, they may welcome you into the eternal homes. Dishonest wealth here, and stick with me a second, it will tie. Dishonest wealth here translates from mammonas, otherwise known as mammon. I don't know if you've ever heard that term before, mammon, which is defined as the treasure a person trusts. Meaning worldly wealth. It's gold coin that I can see, I can feel, I can trust that it's here, versus this path of light and illumination of God's love that I can't see. I can feel it, but I can't see it. So what do you trust? The gold coin you can see and feel and know for sure exists? Or this message of God's love that Jesus Christ has been spreading? As followers of Christ, what do you put your trust in? So Jesus ends this by saying, well, let me back up a quick second. He continues that by saying, whoever is faithful in the little things will be faithful in the big things. And whoever is dishonest in the little things will probably more than likely be dishonest in the big things. So if you can't be trusted to manage this property honestly and to deal with these debtors honestly, then you can't be trusted in the kingdom of God. But if you can be trusted to return the 50 cents to your parents after you've bought in your candy bar, then you can be trusted to follow the path of Jesus Christ and to do things that we are supposed to do as children of God. So Jesus ends this by saying, and I like your version a little bit better, no household servant can serve two masters. They will either hate the one and love the other, or be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and wealth. You cannot serve God and wealth. So when I was preparing for today and trying to remind myself on how this whole extreme couponing thing worked, I actually looked it up online. And now I'm a little afraid that the FBI is going to come knocking on my door thinking that I'm trying to commit coupon fraud, which I am not, I promise you. I was just trying to prepare for this. But I found TLC, the network channel TLC, used to have a show on called Extreme Couponing. So I watched a couple of those small episodes, and I was astonished at what I saw. There was one episode where this woman had this entire room in her house that she called her grocery store. And when she opened the door, I'm pretty sure it was her garage, that she had shelves and shelves and shelves of stuff just filled. And her pride and joy was all of her paper towels. She had 400 rolls of paper towels. Boxes and boxes and boxes of pasta and shampoo and cleaning supplies and just tens of thousands of dollars worth of stuff in this room that she was so excited to say she got for just a couple $100s. She took us on one of her shopping trips because her husband was getting annoyed with all the stuff. So he's like, this is your last time. You can't go shopping for 6 more months, so make this your last good one. So they took us on the shopping trip with us, and she had over $900 worth of products that she paid $17 for. And then I watched another episode, and it was this woman who was trying to convince her neighbors to do this couponing thing, and so she took one skeptical neighbor to the store with her, and she was able to get like over $600 worth of products for less than $2. And when she was taking a tour of her store area, she had boxes and boxes and boxes of Hamburger Helper. And she laughed because she said, my kids don't even like this, but they were free, so why wouldn't I get them? So all I could think is, okay, aside from the illegality of and the fraudulent, acts that you're committing here, why are you just storing all of this stuff that you're probably never even going to use? Why are you hoarding this for yourself? If you're going to do this, why don't you at least share with a food pantry or people in your community who are less fortunate than you? Why are you storing it up to the point where that's going to expire and you're just going to throw it away anyway? But it was free. Not responsible use of the resources. So then it had me thinking, because one of the commentaries on this text was talking about kind of giving back the wealth. The property owner had probably accumulated all of this debt fraudulently. He jacked up his rates. So by reducing the rate, the manager is actually giving back to his community. Okay, but is it still right? Is it still the right thing to do? Because you're still stealing from somebody. I can get on a soapbox about this whole couponing thing, and I won't. We can talk about it afterwards if you want to, about all of the chain effect, the snowball effect of what happens when you buy $900 worth of product from this small town grocery store for $10. That store is not going to survive. We'll talk about that later. So even if they were to share the proceeds of their extreme couponing, it still doesn't make it right. It's still fraudulent behavior that has these long-lasting ramifications. So just because we can doesn't mean we should. Just because it has some positive effect doesn't make it right. So thinking about our own actions in stewarding the resources that we are given, I just kind of brainstorm a list of things that we have been given and are responsible for treating responsibly. Wealth, our financial resources that we are given, treating that with honesty and integrity, and when we can, paying it forward. In our business dealings, you hear the phrase a lot, it's just business. It's just good business. Well, maybe, and maybe it's not quite illegal, but is it ethical? Does that business practice, would that business practice be approved by Jesus? And if the answer to that is no, don't do it. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Our natural resources in our environment, be responsible with them. Big thing in our household is food waste. If you're going to go to the grocery store and spend $300 on groceries, make sure you eat them. Because otherwise you could have shared a portion of that $300 with somebody that has nothing. Educational resources. Feel like that could be a touchy subject, so I will just say educational resources. And is it right that just because you can afford a charter school, because it has a better education, but this person down here who can't afford that, now they have a subpar education because all of the resources have been given to the people that can afford it and not the people that can't? Faith. Stewarding our faith in a loving, ethical manner. We have been given a gift in understanding our faith. We have been given a gift in being able to understand our connection to God. We cannot use that gift as a weapon against others. Relationships. Relationships are absolutely a gift from God. Treating them justly, not manipulating the relationships for your good. In your relationship with another person, pretend that that person is Jesus Christ at all times. How would you treat Jesus? How would you treat God? And if how you're treating that person in your life is not how you would treat God, then don't treat them that way. And love. Giving our love. It costs you nothing to love others in this world. But it can cost them everything if you spread hate. So stewarding the resources we have been given. Because you cannot serve God and yourself. You cannot serve God and wealth. You cannot serve God and corruption. So make a conscious decision every day, every moment of every day. Make a conscious decision to serve God. Amen.